What's going on, everybody? Got another video here for you. I'm going to do another surface integral. Alright, so they want us to evaluate the surface integral where S is the triangular region with these vertices. Alright, so we need to get an equation, don't we? We've got these three vertices here. Let's go ahead and just kind of draw this out and see what we've got here first. All right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's the point 6, 0, 0. And then we've got the point 0, 1, 0. That would be this one, 0, 1, 0. And then we've got the z-axis, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That would be this point, 0, 0, negative 5. So it looks like we've got something like this right here, a plane here. All right. So we can get the equation of this plane. We can call this point A, point B, and point C. All right, so how do we get the equation of a plane? Well, we do what? We need a normal vector, don't we? So we can do that. So we've got vector AB is equal to, all right, so that's going to equal, remember AB, that's going to be 0 minus 6 is negative 6. See, this 0 minus 6, 1 minus 0, which is 1, and 0 minus 0, which is 0. And then we need AC, which is going to be this one. That's going to be 0 minus 6, which is negative 6, 0 minus 0, which is 0, and negative 5 minus 0, which is negative 5. All right, so now if we do the cross product of AB and AC, that's I, J, K, negative 6, 1, 0, negative 6, 0, negative 5. And so if we cover up the I, that's going to be negative 5 minus 0, which is negative 5I. And then we cover up the J, that's going to be 30 minus 0. So that's minus 30J. Remember, the sign changes. Plus, and then we cover up the K, that's going to be 0 minus 6, which is 0 minus 6, which is negative 6K. I'm sorry, that's going to be plus 6. I must have accidentally made a little mark here. That should be a positive 1. So it's going to be 0 minus negative 6, which is positive 6. And so the equation of our plane here, that's going to be negative 5 times, remember, there's your A, B, and C. And we'll use this point here. And so that's going to be x minus 6 minus 30 times y minus 0 plus 6 times z minus 0 equals 0. And so once you do all this, you're going to get negative 5x plus 30 minus 30y plus 6z equals 0. And then we'll take this and we'll solve it for z. So z is equal to 5, 6x plus 5y minus 5 equals, not equals 0. It's just z equals that. All right. So now we can say we've got r of x, y is equal to, so here we can say x equal x, y equals y, and then we've got z in terms of x and y. And so that's going to be xi plus yj plus 5, 6x plus 5y minus 5k. All right. So now let's find the cross product of rx and ry, and then do the magnitude, and then we can evaluate the surface integral. All right. So I've got rx. All right. So what do we have here? It's the partial with respect to x, the partial with respect to the partial of this with respect to x, the partial of this with respect to x, and then the partial of this with respect to x. All right. So that's going to be 1i, which is just I, plus 0j, because partial of this with respect to x is 0, and then we got the partial of this with respect to x, which is going to be 5, 6k. And so we've got I plus 5, 6k. All right. And then we've got the partial with respect to y. So the partial of this with respect to y is 0i, plus the partial of this with respect to y, which would be 1j, plus the partial of this with respect to y, which would be 5k. So that's going to be j plus 5k. All right. And now we need the cross product of rx and ry. That's I, j, k, and we have 1, 0, 5, 6, and then here we have 0, 1, 5. And look, we did a cross product up here, so I'm not going to go through all that and do it again. So when we do the cross product, we get negative 5, 6 I minus 5j plus k. All right. So now I need the magnitude of this. So that's going to be negative 5, 6 squared plus negative 5 squared plus 1 squared, and it's the square root of all that, and that ends up giving us the square root. That's going to be the square root, get a common denominator, all that good stuff. 961 over 36, which is 31 over 6. All right, so let's see what we get here. All right, so we're going to evaluate this. Everything got moved over. We're going to evaluate this thing. So we get the integral 4x ds is equal to the integral of 4x times this cross product. And so let's see what we get here. We're going to get the integral of 4x times 31 over 6. And when we integrate this, we can integrate with respect to y and then integrate with respect to x. That would be fine. All right, so what do we have to do now? Now we need to set up our bounds here, don't we? So you see we're integrating. Here we are in the xy plane, this triangle right here. We need to get our x and y bounds. So if you look at that, I'll draw it up here and then I'll draw it down at the bottom again. We'll draw it in a different color here. So we get our xy, and so notice it's hitting the x-axis at 6, 0. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And it's hitting the y-axis at 0, 1. And so we've got this. There's our triangle in the xy plane. So let's come down here and draw that again. All right. I guess we'll draw it right here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then this goes up 1. That's 6. Got a point there. All right, so if we're integrating along y first, we're going from 0 up to this line. Well, what is this line? Well, this is y equals, and that's going to be rise over run. So up 1 to the left 6, so that's negative 1/6 x, and then we have a y-intercept of 1. And so that's 1 minus 1/6 x. I mean, you can leave it like this, or you can write it 1 minus, it doesn't matter. And then along the x-axis, we're going from 0 to 6. 0 to 6. All right. All right, so we'll multiply this 4 times 31 over 6 together, and we'll just pull that outside of the integral. So that's just going to be 62 over 3, 0 to 6, 0 to 1 minus 1/6 x, x dy dx. All right. And so now we get 62 over 3, 0 to 6, and that's going to be xy, where y is going from 0 to 1 minus 1/6 x dx. All right. So now let's evaluate. So that's going to be 62 over 3, 0 to 6. That's going to be x times 1 minus 1/6 x minus 0. But when we plug the 0 in for y, we're just going to get 0. So we got this. And that's going to be 62 over 3, 0 to 6, x minus 1/6 x squared dx. And so this is going to be 62 over 3 times 1/2 x squared minus 1 over 18 x cubed. X equals 0 to x equals 6. And so that's going to give me 62 over 3 times 1/2 times 6 squared minus 1 over 18 times 6 cubed. And then we plug the 0 in. That would just be 0. And once you do all your arithmetic and all that good stuff, you get 124. And there's your answer. And so I hope you enjoyed that video. I hope you learned something. Check out my other videos. Give me a like, share, subscribe, comment, and I will see y'all in the next one. Later.